The Neil Haley Show and the Storehouse Media Group podcast with our host, Sherry from Storehouse Media Group. Sherry, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest.
I am fine. Thank you for asking. And I am excited about our guest, Barry Bostwick. I'm a fan of his.
Barry, thanks for stopping by. And it's a very exciting time. The 49th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Can you believe
That's
it?
right. Well, what I don't believe is that we're actually celebrating 49 years. What about, 25 and 50? I mean, we're just whores. We're going out and doing it at 49. What can I say? You know why? It's because 50th is going to be a big year next year.
Absolutely. All right. Go ahead, Sherry, with your first question.
Well, it is the 49th year. So we're going back a hot minute or two, right? So what is it that got you interested in doing the role of Brad Majors on Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Well, what got me interested is they asked me to do it. And, that's always nice. I didn't have to audition or anything because I had a history of doing a lot of Broadway musicals. I created the part of Danny Zuko in Grease on Broadway, uh, and I had other Broadway shows, musicals after that. So I had sort of a mini reputation, and I looked the part. I looked like the straight arrow, 50s male, and that whole sort of tongue-in-cheek, self-deprecating attitude that I had sort of massaged into my personality, and it all came together in this. And also probably I just wanted to work with Tim Curry so bad. I saw him on stage do the part, and Susan and I were friends, and Susan were thinking of having Susan too. So we went down and met them one day, and Susan and I, and it just clicked. And a few weeks later, we were on a plane going to London.
See, I think that's such a great story, and you never know when these opportunities arise. Did you think it was going to be as popular and iconic when you did the film?
Well, I knew it was going to be entertaining. I knew it was going to be fun, and I knew the music, rock and roll it was huge. The music in that show was so iconic and so well done, performed, and written by Richard O'Brien that. Uh, and I knew that the subject matter was just tasty enough and naughty enough to I think last a while. But when it first came out, as you probably know, it was a huge failure. It didn't last long until it was picked up on the midnight circuit, and it was discovered by these super fans who basically created this whole show. We did nothing. I mean, I was there for 5 weeks. I shot a movie, and then I forgot about it. And then 3 years later, I go into a movie theater, and they're all singing and dancing and throwing stuff and calling me dirty names. I loved it.
Gotcha.
That's great. So, the word iconic, we keep talking iconic, and it became iconic. And so how did that affect your career? I mean, you played this role in this iconic movie, and then moving forward, what happened?
Well, probably, it's such a one-off, this movie. I mean, I did, well, a few years after this, I did George Washington in a big miniseries on television. And probably if the producers of George Washington had actually seen me in a bustier and high heels in Rocky Horror Picture Show, they wouldn't have cast me as George Washington. So I like to think that this was of its time, and it didn't really affect negatively or even positively, other than the fact that I've worked with a lot of directors who this is their favorite movie, and they grew up as artists when Rocky Horror first came out in the mid '70s, and we're so taken by its not only its charm, but the way it was shot and the color and the kitschiness of it and the sense of humor and the throwback to all of the 40s and 50s sci-fi movies and all that. It and it's just a sexy movie. I mean, you can't get around it. it's a rock and roll concert with some a lot of sexy things going on, not necessarily healthy things, but you know, for the time, you made fun of it, and that's what it was. And it's it lasted this long, so I'm going to ride this donkey till it dies.
So Barry, do you think it helped you get other parts, even though you're a great actor, because of so many directors fans of this?
I think a lot of people, in some movies, yeah, I think they wanted to feel like they had been part of this whole thing that Rocky Horror Picture Show was, you know, and you know, they wanted to talk about it and they wanted to hear stories. And once I would sit down with them and I told them, you know, this was 1974 and I don't remember anything from 1974. So maybe they should have cast somebody else who had a better memory than me.
Go ahead, Cherry.
So with the 49th anniversary, I mean, here it is. I mean, are there any plans that are in the making to celebrate it or to bring awareness on this 49th anniversary?
Well, we're going out and we do this tour, you know, in all of October. I think I'm doing 25 cities in a row, where we go into a city as we're doing with you, uh, close by, and we do a whole evening. We do a costume contest, and we do the virgin ceremony, and we do questions and answers, and we do um, meet and greets beforehand. And I go out with Larry Vizel, who's the head of the fan club internationally, and he's got a little museum of stuff that he brings along, and we just have a party. You know, we go from place to place, and we use the local shadow cast because they've kept this thing alive for 49 years. All these different shadow casts and their dedication and their love for it, and so in a way, it's us celebrating them for keeping it alive, and just having a great time in October because people want to see this movie still.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing. They want to see it still. And
Yeah,
I'm sure new people are being introduced every time. I'm looking at the different cities, Barry, you're going to, and I see you forgot Pittsburgh. You are going to be close on October 11th in Wheeling, West Virginia. I would say, why'd you miss Pittsburgh? But you have to get you're going to Philadelphia. So you're going to be
yeah,
everywhere, but Wheeling. So people from Pittsburgh could just drive an hour and, or if they miss that before, they can go to Charleston. So you're hitting
right.
areas somehow didn't hit Pittsburgh. Interesting.
I'm sorry, but did the women are going out also on
Yeah,
tour.
I didn't check the tour because you're right.
Pat and Nell are going out in separate cities. So I mean, we're
Yeah, I'm
probably
looking.
covering half
I
the
think you're
country.
closest to Pittsburgh. Most of them, if I'm
Ah,
looking at the cities, you
uh,
covered everywhere, man. It's got to be
well,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, God, it's great fun, you know, and also it's not a hard gig for me. You know, the hardest part is traveling from city to city and eating pizza backstage, you know, every night.
Hey, you're making me hungry. Eating pizza backstage. Go ahead, Sherry. Another question. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I know I have watched bits and pieces, never watched it from beginning to end the movie. I remember watching it specific times, but never from beginning to end. I think that
Well,
Sherry's watched.
you're what we call a virgin to this, and if you went to see it in a movie theater with a shadow cast, we would make you do disgusting things as being a virgin. Well, not disgusting, but fun things, and so that would be your initiation into it. You would be a virgin to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'd love to see you there in one of them.
All
We put a
right.
big V on your forehead, you know.
So the secret is if you haven't watched it, don't tell anybody you haven't watched it, right?
Right. Well, unless you're looking forward to standing up and doing crazy things, you know.
I
But
love
that's
it.
Yeah.
half the fun. I mean, that's why they go. You know, that's why we have this virgin ceremony, and the audience gets into it. I mean, it's a real audience participation evening in every which way. Besides throwing stuff at us and yelling at us, they interact with themselves all evening, and There's a lot of
It's
friendships that are boosted and broken.
it's got to be quick to sell out, right? The theater.
Most of places they are, yeah, because it's well, if there's 1,000 seats, we usually sell 1,000 seats. So it's
Standing room only every night. You got to feel like, wow.
yeah, and you're standing up for a lot of the movie anyway when you're doing the time warp, and the aisles are, it's as I say, it's totally interactive, and you'll see. I'll see you there with a big V on your forehead someday.
Got to come to Pittsburgh next, the 50th anniversary. Maybe you're just saving Pittsburgh for the 50th.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll put that on the list. Like
So,
I got
so do you think everyone's going to go out? That's still
Oh, I don't know.
for the 50th.
It would be great. It would be great. The Susan Sarandon and I have done some conventions recently. With Tim Curry still goes out. But to do these one-nighters, maybe Susan and I will do something next year. We'll see.
You got to push that. The 50th is going to be big.
No, it's big. Yeah.
In Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh.
Okay,
exactly. Pittsburgh. All right.
50th in Pittsburgh. I'm
yeah,
writing it down. Right?
Yeah, you write it down. Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pittsburgh. Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So, fondest memories of the Rocky Horror. What would you say?
Fondest memory?
Yeah.
Probably drying off because we were wet the whole time, in cold and freezing. We were in our underwear, and we were always being sprayed down with ice cold water. And so at the end of the day, when Susan and I were finally able to dry off and put clothes on, that's probably my fondest memory. I've never thought of it that way before, but yeah, it was a very uncomfortable shoot, but it was exciting because of the fact that I'd never been to England before, and so I was caught up in the mid-'70s London also, what was going on there.
All right. Well, best place people can purchase tickets. Where can they go?
I don't know.
I'll
just talk to you.
Hey, talk to me. You check it out by just going checking out. Just
go online. I think
go online.
Yeah, wherever. I don't have the schedule.
No, I have the schedule, but I mean they're everywhere. Starting already, you've been doing it, and so starting Blue Lake Casino, you're going to be in Blue Lake, California on September 28th. Then it could just Augusta, blah blah blah. Just Google search. You're going to find Rocky Horror Pictures celebrates 49th anniversary. That's fantastic.
All over the place. Yes, I think probably if you just go online and
you'll find it easy.
Scott Stander Group, which is the producer of it, he's blasted it all over the internet. So,
I think everyone will hear about it. We appreciate it, Barry. Thanks again.
Thank you. I couldn't be happier to talk to you guys.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, that's Special Simulcast, the Neil Haley Show.